Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
A morning quickly passed by. At noon, after he finished eating the fine wine and delicacies brought over by the academy workers, Duan Ling Tian left his courtyard. Squeak, squeak, the chubby little gold mouse lay on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder with a round stomach. In next to no time, the inner hall students walked out of their courtyard successively. At the center square of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy, the 10 inner hall students and the group of outer hall students had gathered together once more. Depart. The vice dean, Qi Ming, personally led the group of students to leave the academy. Blackwind Ridge was situated not far away to the east of the Imperial City. The group of Dragon and Phoenix Academy students that dashed like the wind only spent an hour before arriving around Blackwind Ridge. It's best if all of you act within the limits of your ability in Blackwind Ridge. If you encounter bandits that you're unable to go against and face imminent death, there will be someone who will save you. Those that are saved will be taken to have failed in the mission, and their points will be 0. Qi Ming had a serious expression as he spoke. This was him announcing the final rule. 0 points? The group of Dragon and Phoenix Academy students couldn't help but shiver. All right, everyone split up now. Along with Qi Ming's loud shout, the group of Dragon and Phoenix Academy students swarmed into the Blackwind Ridge like bees. Amongst these people, there were lone wolves and there were many small teams. Duan Ling Tian followed behind everyone and entered into Blackwind Ridge. Right at this moment, Duan Ling Tian was able to clearly notice that after the group of academy students entered Blackwind Ridge, the group of martial artists at the void prying stage and above followed up to them. These void prying stage martial artists were obviously in charge of recording the score and protecting the group of Dragon and Phoenix Academy students. The hidden resources and reserves of the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's Imperial family are shocking. There are at least almost 100 people when all these void prying stage martial artists are added up, right? Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but be astounded. Although these void prying stage martial artists were mostly only at the first, second, and third level, their number was still shocking. After entering Blackwind Ridge, the group of academy students split up themselves. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian headed deeper into Blackwind Ridge by himself. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian was able to notice that there was only one person remaining behind him. Moreover, this person wasn't unfamiliar to Duan Ling Tian. It was precisely the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Vice Dean, Qi Ming. I never imagined that I had such high standing. Vice Dean Qi is actually personally recording my score. Duan Ling Tian was slightly overwhelmed by the sudden favor. Of course, he knew clearly in his heart that besides recording his score, the reason this Qi Ming was following him was mostly for the sake of protecting him. After all, the natural talent and strength he'd revealed now ought to have already obtained the attention of the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's Imperial family. Whereas Qi Ming would probably not let anything happen to him before he participated in the competition of geniuses. If it wasn't for this, Qi Ming wouldn't have sent someone to protect him from the shadows when he left the academy earlier. Whirlwind. Duan Ling Tian's figure flashed out at full speed, and he entered deep into Blackwind Ridge in the blink of an eye. It wasn't long before Duan Ling Tian discovered a small lake. There are actually lakes in Blackwind Ridge. Duan Ling Tian was slightly surprised. Along with Duan Ling Tian soaring up into the sky and looking down in a large area beneath his feet, he instead noticed that besides the lake that he'd noticed, there wasn't a second lake anywhere within the vicinity of this area. Those bandits are concealed in Blackwind Ridge. Normally, they wouldn't be able to do without replenishing their food. Duan Ling Tian thought in his heart, water is a necessity to them. When he thought up to here, Duan Ling Tian plunged down and concealed himself behind an enormous rock that was behind the lake. Hide and wait. It was Duan Ling Tian's current plan. Squeak, squeak. When the little gold mouse saw Duan Ling Tian leaning on a rock and resting, she couldn't help but ask curiously via voice transmission, "Big brother Ling Tian, what are you hiding here for?" "Little gold, I'm waiting for those bandits to arrive." Duan Ling Tian smiled. Waiting for the bandits to arrive. The little gold mouse was slightly puzzled, and her pair of jade green eyes were filled with a perplexed expression. "Big brother Ling Tian, you're not going to look for those bandits." Could it be that those bandits will come over by themselves? Duan Ling Tian smiled. Little Gold, Blackwind Ridge occupies a vast area. Even if I search everywhere, I'll at least need to spend 1 or 2 months of time to completely search it. Moreover, those bandits are extremely cunning, and they might not stay at the same place all the time. Whereas this place, so long as there are bandits concealed nearby, they will surely come here. Duan Ling Tian finished speaking with a single breath. Why? The little gold mouse still didn't understand. Big brother Ling Tian, why are you so sure they will surely come? You'll know extremely soon. Duan Ling Tian smiled mysteriously, and he hid behind the rock while looking at the movement in the surroundings of the nearby lake. Time silently flowed by. At dusk, the sky was fully crimson, causing the entire Blackwind Ridge to seem as if it had transformed into a sea of flames. Squeak, squeak, the little gold mouse lay on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder drowsily, and she said slightly impatiently, Big brother Ling Tian, how much longer must we wait? You little fellow, they've come. Duan Ling Tian wasn't able to finish speaking to the little gold mouse when he noticed some movement ahead. After a short moment, 3 burly middle-aged men walked out from the nearby bushes to arrive nearby the small lake. F***K, I'm thirsty to death. A middle-aged man stood before the lake and stretched out his hand to scoop up some water before pouring it into his mouth. The other 2 people took out some water canteens to gather water. Ninth leader is too cautious. Our brothers were all thirsty to death since the morning, yet he didn't allow us to come out and gather water, and he insisted on it being dusk and almost night before allowing us to come out. Another middle-aged man grumbled. All right, don't grumble anymore. Ninth leader did this because he was worried that the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial family would send people over. Only by being cautious will our brothers be able to live long, said the last middle-aged man. Quickly gather the water, and we'll leave. In next to no time, the 3 middle-aged men gathered the water and intended to leave. Squeak, squeak, the little gold mouse lightly cried out by Duan Ling Tian's ear. Big brother Ling Tian, you want to let them leave? The little gold mouse asked via voice transmission. Yes. Duan Ling Tian nodded, then he silently followed them. These 3 people were only 9th-level nascent soul stage martial artists, and if he wanted to kill them, he would be able to kill them all in the blink of an eye. Now, Duan Ling Tian was following them precisely because he wanted to find where they concealed themselves. Duan Ling Tian followed behind the 3 of them, yet the 3 of them didn't notice in the slightest and chatted amongst themselves. I heard 7th leader brought along over 10 brothers and slaughtered 2 villages during these past few days, and he'd even seized many women. It's truly enviable. A middle-aged man spoke as he drooled, and his eyes flickered with a sheen of lust. If I knew earlier, I'd have followed 7th leader at that time. Although 9th leader is loyal, he has been busy breaking through lately, and it's been an extremely long time since he brought our brothers to leave Blackwind Ridge to raid homes and plunder houses. Another middle-aged man sighed. Alas, I haven't savored the taste of a woman for half a month. But when I recall that woman from half a month ago, it was truly satisfying. Unfortunately, her temper was too violent, and she took her own life after being played with me once. Back luck. As the last middle-aged man finished speaking, he had an expression of pity. You still have the nerve to say that? You killed her husband and son before her eyes. It would be weird if she didn't take her own life. Duan Ling Tian followed behind these 3 people and heard the 3 of them ceaselessly speaking about their own glorious deeds. Unknowingly, Duan Ling Tian's fists were already clenched tightly, and his eyes even flickered with frightful cold light. Now, he wished for nothing more than to directly kill these 3 people. But he still endured it in the end. Based on what they said, they have a total of 9 leaders. In other words, this bandit group had a total of 9 bandits in charge. Now, they're divided into 9 groups that are scattered around Blackwind Ridge. Duan Ling Tian found out some information from the conversation of the 3. 9th leader is at the 1st level of the void prying stage. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curled into an evil expression. I never expected that it's only the 1st day I've arrived at Blackwind Ridge, yet I've encountered a big fish. Little Gold. Duan Ling Tian looked at the little gold mouse that was burning with eagerness on his shoulder, then warned. Don't interfere when I make a move later. Otherwise, don't think of eating meat in the future. Duan Ling Tian's words caused the Duan Ling Tian to be like a deflated rubber ball. She drooped her little head as she said via voice transmission, "Then I'll go to sleep." The little gold mouse did as she said. She grabbed tightly onto the clothes on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder and fell asleep in next to no time. This caused Duan Ling Tian to be speechless. This little gold is similar to little black and little white. They're simply like the reincarnation of pigs. Duan Ling Tian shook his head and smiled bitterly. Duan Ling Tian's gaze becomes slightly distant when he thought of the two little pythons. I wonder how little black and little white are now. Suddenly, Duan Ling Tian's thoughts were pulled back to reality, because the bandits that he'd followed all the way had returned to their hiding spot. This place was an inconspicuous gorge. The entrance was only a single line that was extremely narrow and was merely able to accommodate one person entering sideways. After the three bandits entered, Duan Ling Tian followed in and concealed himself nearby. "Ninth leader, we've returned." After the three bandits entered the gorge, they shouted out loudly, "Water! Water!" Instantly, the group of bandits swarmed over to receive the water from the three bandits before fiercely taking a mouthful. "You didn't notice anything off, right?" Right at this moment, a voice that was like muffled thunder abruptly sounded out, and it resounded within the gorge. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian, who was concealed on the large tree that was at the side of the entrance to the gorge, noticed that a robust man that wore worn-out armor walked out from the wooden house in the gorge. The robust man had dense brows and large eyes. There were 3 saber scars on his face that were like 3 centipedes. The most hideous scar started from below his eyes, and it was just a little bit away from crippling his eye. "No, ninth leader, water." One of the 3 bandits that went to gather water walked out and respectfully passed over a water canteen. "That's good." The robust man nodded, then received the water before starting to drink with large gulps. After he finished drinking, he tossed the water canteen to the side, then turned around and looked at the bandits under his command. "Brothers, I'll be able to break through in 3 days at most. At that time, I'll bring all of you along to go around to see blood and play with women." Coldness appeared on the corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth when he heard the words of the bandits' 9th leader. Breakthrough in 3 days at most? In other words, this 9th leader of the bandits was still a first-level void prying stage martial artist now. Duan Ling Tian's spiritual force stretched out and detected the amount of bandits in the gorge at the first possible moment. There were an entire 30-plus people, and the 9th leader was the strongest amongst them. The 9th leader was the one and only void-prying stage martial artist amongst the 30-plus people. Whoosh. After he finished detecting them, Duan Ling Tian's figure moved to descend from the tree and completely exposed himself before the band of bandits. Whereas when the band of bandits saw an unfamiliar person had suddenly appeared in the gorge they hid within, and it was even a young man, they were all dumbstruck. "Kid, where did you come from?" A bandit shot his gaze at Duan Ling Tian, then asked with a low voice. "He's probably some young master that came to play in Blackwind Ridge and has gotten lost." Some bandits noticed the little gold mouse on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder. They only thought it was a pet and couldn't help but laugh. "Old Wong, didn't you like this type of handsome young master with white and smooth skin? This young master that has delivered himself to us ought to suit your taste, right?" One of the bandits looked at another rugged bandit and spoke with a smile. Instantly, the band of bandits roared with laughter, and they didn't realize entirely of the arrival and danger. Even the 9th leader of the bandits didn't take Duan Ling Tian seriously. After all, as far as they were concerned, the violet-clothed young man before them was only a young man that was no more than 25 years of age. A young man like this posed no threat to them. "He's indeed not bad. He's rather handsome. I just don't know how he is when played." The rugged bandit had a lustful expression as he walked towards Duan Ling Tian. But he hadn't finished speaking when he'd already stopped abruptly, because a material point force condensed from origin energy had torn through the sky and interrupted him. Bang! The rugged bandit's body crashed onto the ground. A hideous bloody hole had appeared between his brows, and beautiful and dazzling fresh blood was still endlessly spraying out from it. After a short moment, his head was completely wet from blood. First, First level void prying stage. A bandit was the first to recover from his shock, and he just happened to see the 2,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes in the sky above Duanling Tian. The 2,000 lifelike ancient mammoth silhouettes gradually condensed into form, and they brought an extremely great pressure to everyone. Many bandits had ghastly pale expressions, and their legs shivered. A void-prying stage expert wasn't someone they could go against. Presently, only the bandit's ninth leader and the 3 bandits standing behind him were comparatively composed amongst the bandits present. These 3 bandits were all existences at the half-step void stage, having a cultivation that has stepped into the void-prying stage at a young age. I wonder which one of the 5 great young masters you are. The ninth leader's face sank as he questioned with a shout. 5 great young masters. Duanling Tian's brows raised, and he shrugged. I'm none of them. You're not a figure amongst the 5 great young masters. The ninth leader sneered when he heard this. No matter if you are one or not, since you killed my brother today, you're dead. As soon as he finished speaking, the ninth leader flashed out. Whoosh. The ninth leader's body moved like the wind as a saber appeared in his hand. Origin energy suffused onto it before raging and rising explosively. In the sky, along with the 2,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes that dashed out with him, another 560 ancient mammoth silhouettes condensed into form. This was the amplification of the spirit saber. The ninth leader's saber was a grade 7 spirit saber. Along with the ninth leader and seeming to have transformed into a fierce beast that had opened its bloody mouth as it pounced towards Duanling Tian, the spirit saber in his hand had an extra strand of vast aura. This strand of aura was extremely faint, and if one didn't carefully sense it, one would be unable to notice it. Instantly, another 200 ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared beside the 2,560 ancient mammoth silhouettes. Elementary Saber Force. Die! The ninth leader shouted out explosively as he exerted his full strength, and his saber descended down towards Duanling Tian's head while carrying along the might to split a mountain. He seemed as if he wanted to split Duanling Tian into 2. Terrifying origin energy leaped about on the saber, and as it crashed downwards, saber force suffused within it. Kill him. The other 3 half-step void stage bandits followed behind the ninth leader to charge towards Duanling Tian. In the sky above them was 1,500 ancient silhouettes respectively. Subsequently, they withdrew their respective spirit sabers. Whem, whem, whem. Another 3 sabers descended down, and they seemed to have transformed into the bloody mouths of fierce beasts that bit at Duanling Tian. Futile effort. The corners of Duanling Tian's mouth curled into a wisp of disdain when facing the ninth leader's saber slash that contained the strength of 2,760 ancient mammoths, and he shouted out coldly, Tempest Point. Subsequently, with a raise of his hand, Duanling Tian's origin energy once again condensed into point force that tore through the sky. Swish. The origin energy point force flashed out to intercept ninth leader's saber that seemed to be able to split a mountain. Following around the origin energy point force was strand of azure-colored energy and violet-colored energy that twined around each other, seemed to be like an azure snake and a violet snake that leaped about. Tempest Point. Instantly, another 1,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared beside the existing 2,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes above Duanling Tian. Presently, Duanling Tian had executed the Tempest Point at the Mastery stage that contained half-step Advanced Wind Force and half-step Advanced Lightning Force. No, impossible. The ninth leader's saber descended downwards at Duanling Tian's head, and his gaze didn't leave Duanling Tian from the beginning until the end. At the beginning, when he saw Duanling Tian condense an origin energy point force to defend against his saber slash, he couldn't help but feel disdain in his heart. However, when he saw the 3,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes that suddenly joined together above the head of Duanling Tian, he felt coldness surge up from his feet and shoot directly into his head. Clang! The Tempest Point tore through the sky, and by relying on the strength of 3,000 ancient mammoth silhouettes, it blasted the spirit saber in the ninth leader's hand flying. The hand the ninth leader used to hold his saber split apart as expected, and fresh blood dripped down. You, After the ninth leader was blasted back a few steps, he looked at Duan Ling Tian in terror. Swish. But he hadn't even had the chance to speak when another material tempest point flashed over and easily pierced through between his brows. Bang! Ninth leader's body dropped to the ground dead. He followed in the footsteps of the rugged bandit. Avenge the ninth leader. The eyes of the three bandits that charged at Duan Ling Tian went crimson red, and origin energy skyrocketed on the sabers in their hands that descended towards Duan Ling Tian. The three of them attacked out with rage and used their full strength. But, no matter how angry they were, it was unable to change the fact that they were only at the half-step void stage. Whirlwind. Duan Ling Tian's figure moved, seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind that easily avoided their attacks. Tempest point. As his body moves, Duan Ling Tian suddenly raised his hand and pointed out thrice. Swish, swish, swish. 3 tempest points tore through the sky and pieced the chests of the 3 half-step void stage bandits and killed them. Along with the 3 bandits crashing onto the ground, the gorge was deathly silent. In the blink of an eye, 1 first-level void prying stage and 3 half-step void stage martial artists had all died. The 4 bandits that were killed were also the bandits with the strongest strength amongst those present here. For a time, the remaining bandits all went pale. Lord, spare us. Lord, spare us. Instantly, many bandits knelt on the ground as they kowtowed to Duan Ling Tian with shivering bodies. When they realized they were approaching death, they were afraid. With someone taking the lead, the remaining bandits knelt down onto the ground and begged for mercy with grievous voices. They knew clearly that unless the violet-clothed young man before them showed mercy, it would be difficult for them to escape death. Duan Ling Tian stood before the group of bandits with a calm expression, and his gaze was extremely cold and indifferent. All of you know to be afraid now. Finally, Duan Ling Tian spoke with a tone that was filled with extremely icy cold killing intent, and it caused the group of bandits to all go ghastly pale. Lord, spare us. So long as you spare us, we guarantee to not be bandits in the future. Yeah, Lord, spare us. I won't be a bandit anymore. The group of bandits made promises. When he heard the promises of these bandits, not only did Duan Ling Tian not feel pity in his heart, he instead had slight disgust in his heart. If the scene before him were to be placed in his previous lifetime, it was no different to promising to the court after killing someone. I won't kill anyone in the future, let me live. Everyone had to be responsible for the things they do. Only one of you can live. Duan Ling Tian took a few steps backwards and stood at the entrance of the gorge to block off the way out for the bandits, then spoke indifferently. Whem. As soon as Duan Ling Tian finished speaking, before many bandits were able to react, another bandit had swung out his saber to kill his former companions that were beside him. The actions of this bandit jolted all the other bandits awake. Kill! Kill! For the sake of surviving, the group of bandits all raised their sabers against each other, attacking their former companions. After a short while, blood flowed into a river within the gorge. In the blink of an eye, only a few bandits remained standing. The condition of these bandits weren't so good, and they more or less had injuries on their bodies. In next to no time, as if they'd discussed it previously, the remaining bandits attacked out at the same time and unleashed a chaotic battle. Duan Ling Tian watched coldly from the side. Right at this moment, he suddenly thought of something. Vice Dean Shi, all of them killing each other like this ought to be able to be counted into my mission points, right? The old man that stood in the sky and was concealed within the clouds and mist above the gorge received Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission. He actually noticed me? The old man was slightly moved, and he was shocked in his heart. No wonder when I sent someone to follow and protect him the last time, it was see-through by him. Duan Ling Tian is actually even able to notice where I'm concealed. The old man was precisely the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Vice Dean Shi Ming. You didn't use the assistance of external sources of strength, whereas they killed each other because of what you said. These dead bandits naturally are counted in your mission points. Qi Ming replied Duan Ling Tian via voice transmission. That's good. Duan Ling Tian nodded. When Duan Ling Tian returned to his senses once more, he noticed that the remaining bandits had all fallen down. Only one bandit remained with his last breath, and he obviously wouldn't live for long. Lo, Lord, save me. The bandit struggled to plead for help from Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian glanced at him indifferently and asked, "Do you know where the other leaders of your bandit group are?" I, I don't know. The bandit shook his head with difficulty. Even if he consumed a healing medicinal pill, he was still out of breath. He'd suffered 2 heavy injuries, and the low-grade healing medicinal pills in his possession weren't able to provide any effect. Little Gold. Duan Ling Tian paid no attention to this bandit and woke up the little gold mouse. Squeak, squeak. After the little gold mouse woke up, she cried out in surprise when she saw the tragic condition within the gorge. Big Brother Ling Tian, when did you become so bloody? The little gold mouse's naive voice of a young girl entered into Duan Ling Tian's ears. I'm bloody. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth twitched. Even if there was someone in the world that had the qualifications to call him bloody, it would absolutely not be the little gold mouse. In terms of both being ruthless and bloody, he felt he couldn't compare to this little fellow no matter how hard he tried. Little Gold, help me gather the spoils. Under Duan Ling Tian and the little gold mouse's cleaning up, the spatial rings of the group of bandits had become Duan Ling Tian's. Whereas during this period of time, that bandit that had survived the battle had died because of his heavy injuries. This time, Duan Ling Tian could be considered to have obtained an excellent harvest. With all these bandits combined, my mission points ought to have passed 100, right? Before Duan Ling Tian left, he glanced indifferently at the pile of bandit corpses within the gorge and thought to himself. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian brought the little gold mouse along and left the gorge. Duan Ling Tian's face became gloomy right after he left the gorge, because he noticed that 2 extremely familiar auras were approaching with extremely swift speeds. S***T. Duan Ling Tian's face was gloomy. Then his figure flashed out, intending to flee. Whirlwind. Duan Ling Tian's half-step advanced wind force and half-step advanced lightning force gathered beneath his feet, and he seemed to have transformed into the wind as he flashed towards the distance. Duan Ling Tian, you still want to flee before the 2 of us? Right at this moment, 2 aged figures seemed as if they'd appeared out of thin air before Duan Ling Tian. Of course, they didn't appear out of thin air. Whereas it was their speeds that had attained a certain level that caused Duan Ling Tian to be unable to catch sight of their figures. Zhao Ming Tanghua. Duan Ling Tian's expression was unsightly when he saw the 2 old men that floated before him. He never expected that Zhao Ming and Tanghua would appear in Blackwind Ridge. It's surely Lu Yu who informed them that the students of Dragon and Phoenix Academy were coming out to gain experience and tempering. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian guessed the reason. Duan Ling Tian, we were unable to do anything to you in the Crimson Sky Kingdom that day. Let me see who can help you today. The corners of Tang Hua's mouth curled into a cold smile. Zhao Ming's icy cold gaze stared at Duan Ling Tian, yet didn't say a single word. Whoosh. Right at this moment, another aged figure appeared to stand before Duan Ling Tian, and the figure protected Duan Ling Tian behind himself. It was precisely the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Vice Dean Qi Ming. Qi Ming couldn't help but be slightly moved when he saw Tang Hua and Zhao Ming. He wasn't surprised that the members of the Azure Forest Trisect wanted to look for trouble with Duan Ling Tian. But what surprised him was that for the sake of Duan Ling Tian, the Azure Forest Trisect actually sent out 2 guardian elders. It was truly unbelievable. Even if the Azure Forest Trisect regarded Duan Ling Tian as even more important, it still wouldn't be to the extent of sending out 2 guardian elders, right? Qi Ming felt that there was surely a secret hidden behind this. Elder Tang Hua, Elder Zhao Ming. Qi Ming looked at Tang Hua and Zhao Ming with a calm expression and said with a low voice, Duan Ling Tian is an inner hall student of our Dragon and Phoenix Academy now, and he's undergoing an experience mission right now. I hope that the both of you can leave quickly. Qi Ming, could it be that you think you alone are able to stop both the 2 of us? Tang Hua obviously knew Qi Ming, and he sneered. Qi Ming's face went gloomy. Tang Hua, don't forget, Duan Ling Tian is a member of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy now, and he protected by the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's Imperial family. If you dare touch him, then it's going against the imperial family. As far as Qi Ming was concerned, the imperial family was sufficient to press down on Manhwa and Zhao Ming to the point they couldn't catch their breaths. However, the development of the matter exceeded his expectations. Imperial family? Manhwa and Zhao Ming looked at each other when they heard Qi Ming, then couldn't refrain from laughing. What? After your Azure Forest trisect combined, you even look down on our imperial family? Qi Ming spoke with a low voice. Qi Ming, if you're sensible, then leave quickly. We're taking this Duan Ling Tian for sure today. Manhwa's words didn't have the slightest room for discussion. Imperial family? Perhaps they would have to restrain themselves within the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial city. But now, everything was too far away, whereas Duan Ling Tian was before their eyes and about to become their prey. How could they let this opportunity slip by? After all, once they captured Duan Ling Tian, it would also mean that they would obtain the 10,000-year stalactite milk. Once they consumed the 10,000-year stalactite milk, they would be confident in charging into the 7th level of the Void Initiation stage. At that time, so what if it was the Imperial family? The only reason the Imperial family was able to monopolize the kingdom was because of the 7th level Void Prying stage expert. So long as they captured Duan Ling Tian and forged out the location of the 10,000-year stalactite milk from him, 7th level Void Initiation stage experts would appear in their Azure Forest trisect. Moreover, it wouldn't only just be one person. At that time, their Azure Forest trisect would be unafraid of the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial family anymore. Duan Ling Tian stood there and silently watched the development of the situation. He noticed that the development seemed to not be going smoothly. Manhwa and Zhao Ming seemed to want to capture him even at the hazard of offending the imperial family. As for the reason the two of them did this, Duan Ling Tian was able to guess it. Do they really think that I'd take them to the 10,000-year stalactite milk if they capture me? Duan Ling Tian sneered in his heart towards how naive Manhwa and Zhao Ming were. Humph. Finally, Qi Ming grunted coldly, and the origin energy on his body fluxed, causing his robe to flutter without wind. Whoosh! In the sky, 8 lifelike ancient horned dragons gradually condensed into form. Qi Ming revealed his cultivation. 6th level of the Void Initiation stage. He wasn't inferior to Zhao Ming or Manhwa. Duan Ling Tian wasn't surprised when Qi Ming revealed such a cultivation. His spiritual force had detected Qi Ming's cultivation since long ago. Qi Ming, if you really want to look for trouble, then don't blame me and Elder Ming for being hard on you. I presume that you ought to be clear that you aren't a match for the both of us together. As Manhwa spoke, 8 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared above him. Whereas above Zhao Ming, 8 ancient horned dragon silhouettes gradually condensed into form as well, and they wriggled as they descended. Whoosh! In next to no time, strands of material blue energy leaped about on the origin energy on Qi Ming's body. Subsequently, another 5 ancient horned dragons appeared in the sky above Qi Ming. 5th level water concept. The corners of Manhwa's mouth curled into a wisp of disdain. Then, as the origin energy on his body moved, strands of crimson-red energy leaped about, and the scorching aura caused the air to stagnate. 6th level fire concept. At the same time, 5th level wind concept appeared within Zhao Ming's origin energy, and the 8 ancient horned dragon silhouettes above him became 13. Both of you really want to touch someone that's protected by our imperial family? Qi Ming's face was gloomy, and he felt a wave of powerlessness in his heart. He never expected that Manhwa had actually comprehended 6th level fire concept. 6th level fire concept was already not countered by his 5th level water concept. Originally, he planned to use his water concept to counter Manhwa's fire concept, then pull Zhao Ming into the battle and fight for a chance for Duan Ling Tian to flee. But now it would seem that his thoughts had failed. Merely Manhwa alone had surpassed him, and he was utterly unable to divert his attention to deal with Zhao Ming. Whereas at this moment, Duan Ling Tian's thoughts were spinning. Even if I lend my grade 4 spirit sword to Vice Dean Qi Ming, he probably might not be able to suppress Manhwa and Zhao Ming. Looks like I'm bound to suffer misfortune today. Unknowingly, the corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curled into a wisp of helplessness. He didn't flee because he knew that it was impossible for him to flee under the eyes of Tanghua and Zhao Ming. Elder Ming. Suddenly, Duan Ling Tian heard an explosive shout. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian saw that the azure clothed on Zhao Ming's body swayed as he transformed into a gust of wind with extremely swift speed and flashed directly towards Qi Ming, and he became locked in battle with Qi Ming. In terms of attack, the two of them were equal. In terms of speed, because Zhao Ming had comprehended wind concept, he was superior. Whoosh. Right at this moment, Duan Ling Tian heard a wave of the sound of the air tearing apart sweep towards him, and the sound approached closer and closer, and a scorching aura enveloped down onto him. T. Duan Ling Tian's face went ghastly pale when he saw Tanghua pouncing at him. A powerful hand descended onto his shoulder, and the formidable origin energy shackled all the origin energy within his body. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian was brought up into the clouds and swiftly flew into the distance. Within Duan Ling Tian's field of vision, Qi Ming and Zhao Ming went further and further, and in the end, they transformed into two black dots that gradually vanished before his eyes. During this period of time, Qi Ming wanted to save him on many occasions, yet was stopped by Zhao Ming. Duan Ling Tian, you've fallen into my hands in the end. Tanghua's voice entered into Duan Ling Tian's ears. Elder Tanghua, you better be a bit lighter. If you hurt me, then I might accidentally forget the location of the 10,000-year stalactite milk, and that wouldn't be good. Duan Ling Tian glanced at the hand that Tanghua grabbed onto his shoulder with, and spoke indifferently. Humph. Tanghua's face sank from being threatened by Duan Ling Tian, but his hand still loosened slightly. When he saw Tanghua being so cooperative, Duan Ling Tian knew that his guess from before was correct. Tanghua and Zhao Ming utterly didn't think of directly taking his life. The objective of the two was indeed the 10,000-year stalactite milk. Elder Tanghua, where do you plan to take me? Duan Ling Tian noticed that Tanghua actually brought him all the way east, and he couldn't help but be curious. Tanghua paid no attention to Duan Ling Tian. Tanghua only stopped moving when he arrived atop a precipitous mountain that was at the eastern border of the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. Then he held on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder as he stood in the sky. Duan Ling Tian sized up this precipitous mountain and didn't notice anything special about it. After a short moment, Duan Ling Tian saw a person swiftly flying over from the west. Zhao Ming. Duan Ling Tian's face sank when he saw this person that arrived. He understood that this place turned out to be the meeting point of Zhao Ming and Tanghua. After a short moment, Zhao Ming arrived by Tanghua's side, and his hateful eyes stared fixedly at Duan Ling Tian as he spoke coldly. Duan Ling Tian, don't play tricks. Otherwise, I'll kill you at the first possible moment. Duan Ling Tian shrugged when he heard Zhao Ming's threats and said indifferently, then go ahead and kill me, Elder Ming. We don't have to go find any 10,000-year stalactite milk. You think I don't dare? Zhao Ming burst into rage, and his origin energy raged with a raise of his hand. 8 ancient horned dragon silhouettes coiled down and accumulated force while waiting to be deployed. Elder Ming. Tanghua frowned, then stopped Zhao Ming, and he said via voice transmission, so long as we found the 10,000-year stalactite milk, are you afraid you won't have a chance to kill Duan Ling Tian? He's provoking you to anger. Don't fall into his trap. Zhao Ming took a deep breath when he heard Tanghua, then suppressed the rage in his heart. Duan Ling Tian, where's the 10,000-year stalactite milk? Tanghua looked at Duan Ling Tian and asked with a low voice. Elder Tanghua, both of you will let me off if I bring both of you to the 10,000-year stalactite milk. Duan Ling Tian asked with a vigilant expression. Yes. Tanghua wasn't surprised by Duan Ling Tian's request, and he didn't even think before agreeing to it. How about Elder Zhao Ming? You're willing to let me off? Duan Ling Tian looked at Zhao Ming. Humph. Zhao Ming grunted coldly and paid no attention to Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian, don't worry. So long as you bring us to the 10,000-year stalactite milk, I and Elder Ming will let you off, said Tanghua to Duan Ling Tian. Then both of you establish a vow under the 99 heavenly tribulation. Otherwise, I'd rather die than take the two of you to the 10,000-year stalactite milk. Duan Ling Tian had an expression as if he was indifferent towards what happened. You. Zhao Ming's face went gloomy. Elder Ming. Tang Hua frowned, then persuaded via voice transmission. So what if we do as he say and establish a vow? So long as we obtain the 10,000-year stalactite milk, we'll surely be able to smoothly break through to the 7th level of the void initiation stage. At that time, with our strengths, even if we forcefully trespass into the Dragon and Phoenix Academy to kill Duan Ling Tian, I presume the imperial family wouldn't say anything about it. As he finished speaking, Tang Hua had a confident expression, and he seemed as if he'd already seen the scene of himself breaking through to the 7th level of the void initiation stage. Zhao Ming pondered for a short moment when he heard this. Then he agreed. Subsequently, under Duan Ling Tian's gaze, Zhao Ming and Tang Hua pinched open their fingers, then used their own blood and the 99 heavenly tribulation as the witness to establish the vow. Once they locate the 10,000-year stalactite milk under Duan Ling Tian's help, they would allow Duan Ling Tian to leave and not make things difficult for Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian wasn't surprised when he saw Tang Hua and Zhao Ming establish the vow. He was able to sense the yearning the two of them had towards the 10,000-year stalactite milk, so he had nothing to fear. Squeak, squeak, the little gold mouse cried out by Duan Ling Tian's ears and said via voice transmission, "Big brother Ling Tian, you really intend to bring them to the 10,000-year stalactite milk?" Duan Ling Tian replied via voice transmission, "Of course I wouldn't." "Then what's the use of making them establish this vow?" The little gold mouse asked curiously. "I asked them to establish this vow only for the sake of giving them a preconceived impression and make them think that I'm really willing to bring them to the 10,000-year stalactite milk." Duan Ling Tian explained via voice transmission. "Otherwise, if I don't make them establish the vow, they might think that I'm playing some sort of trick. In that way, it wouldn't be easy to implement my plan." Plan? The little gold mouse's voice transmission was filled with a bewilderment. "You'll know very soon." Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission was filled with mystery. The little gold mouse lay on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder, and her pair of jade green eyes flickered with slight anticipation. "We've already established the vow. Now you can take us to the 10,000-year stalactite milk, right?" Tang Hua asked Duan Ling Tian with a low voice. "Duan Ling Tian, don't think of playing any tricks. Otherwise, I'll surely kill you." Zhao Ming spoke out in a timely manner that was in perfect harmony with Tang Hua. "What tricks can I play?" Duan Ling Tian shrugged. "Both of you are 6th-level void initiation stage experts. Could it be that you're afraid that a little 1st-level void prying stage martial artist will play tricks on you?" Subsequently, under Duan Ling Tian's directions, Tang Hua and Zhao Ming carried him along as they flew at full speed towards northwest. After they arrived nearby the ancient city of Everlast, Duan Ling Tian pointed towards the north. "Over there." Duan Ling Tian, "It's the territory of the Darkstone Empire ahead. Are you sure the 10,000-year stalactite milk is in the Darkstone Empire?" Tang Hua looked at Duan Ling Tian with slight doubt. "Elder Hua, if you don't believe me, then you can kill me right now. How about it?" Duan Ling Tian spoke indifferently. Tang Hua instantly went silent. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curled into a wisp of disdain. "So what if you're a 6th-level void initiation stage martial artist? Aren't you being completely played by me? When I was at the Crimson Sky Kingdom the last time, I almost forgot that place. If I thought of it at that time, even if that mysterious expert wasn't there, I would be able to escape them as well." Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. Duan Ling Tian was convinced that once Tang Hua and Zhao Ming were trapped in that place, they would most likely be trapped to death. Phoenix Nest City. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian was carried by Tang Hua and Zhao Ming to flash past in the sky above Phoenix Nest City. "I wonder if Tian Wu, City Governor Feng, Elder Kong, and Grandma Su have already left." Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. Not long after, under the guidance of Duan Ling Tian, Tang Hua and Zhao Ming carried Duan Ling Tian to descend in a spacious gorge. Within the forge was a ball of gas that were like clouds and mist that had fathered together, and the condition within it couldn't be seen clearly. "What place is this?" Zhao Ming and Tang Hua curiously sized up the surroundings. In the end, their gazes descended onto the ball of mist and clouds that was before them. The clouds and mist revealed various mysteriousness that caused them to feel it wasn't simple. Elder Tanghua, you can let me go now, right? If you don't let me go, how do I lead the way? Duan Ling Tian looked at the hand Tanghua held his shoulder with and spoke indifferently. Tanghua instead disregarded him. Then you can go look for it yourself. Duan Ling Tian shrugged and had an expression of being indifferent and not anxious. Duan Ling Tian, I hope you don't play tricks on us. Otherwise, you ought to know the consequences. Tanghua threatened with a low voice. At the same time, he relaxed the hand that grabbed onto Duan Ling Tian's shoulder. Even if I want to play tricks on the two of you, I need to have the strength to do it, Duan Ling Tian said indifferently. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian noticed that Zhao Ming had approached the ball of cloud and mist ahead, and a wisp of disdain couldn't help but appear on the corners of his mouth. Unless Zhao Ming was an inscription master as well, otherwise, don't hope of recognizing that inscription formation. Inscription formation. This place was precisely the place Duan Ling Tian had come to with Feng Wu Dao, Feng Tian Wu, and Elder Kong. That ball of cloud and mist was precisely an inscription formation, and the former Soul Cleanse pool was within the inscription formation. However, because the nether soul fruit was already eaten by Little Gold, that pool of water had become ordinary water. Squeak, squeak. The Little Gold mouse stood on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder and cried out lightly, then said via voice transmission, Big Brother Ling Tian, why did you bring them here? You little fellow, you still can't guess what I want to do. Duan Ling Tian said via voice transmission, You're too stupid. Squeak, squeak. The Little Gold mouse was instantly unhappy when she heard Duan Ling Tian. Elders, please follow me. Duan Ling Tian called out to Tanghua and Zhao Ming, then walked over to the ball of clouds and mist with large strides, intending to enter into it. That place can't be entered at all. Zhao Ming couldn't help but laugh in ridicule when he saw Duan Ling Tian's actions. Earlier, he'd tried to walk into the ball of clouds and mist, yet he noticed that there was a shapeless energy blocking him out. It was as even someone had set some sort of restriction here. But in the next moment, he was completely dumbstruck when he saw the ball of mist and clouds actually split open when Duan Ling Tian walked over with large strides. What's going on? Tanghua was stunned as well. He naturally didn't know that the ball of clouds and mist was the image formed by the inscription formation. Whereas at this moment, it was precisely Duan Ling Tian who'd stretched his spiritual force out and successfully opened the inscription formation. Elders, the 10,000-year stalactite milk is inside. Duan Ling Tian walked first into the mist and clouds that had split open, and his figure slowly fused into the dusky and light mist. When they saw Duan Ling Tian vanish before their eyes, "Let's go in." Tanghua called Zhao Ming, and the two of them followed in. After the two of them entered, they were stunned on the spot. Their faces were filled with surprise as they looked at the spacious lake before them. Both of them never imagined that there was actually such a scene behind the ball of clouds and mist within the gorge. At this moment, they completely didn't notice that the clouds and mist behind them was swiftly closing, and it completely closed together not long after. Whereas beside them, a wisp of a grin appeared on the corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth, and he took 2 steps back. In the next moment, whirlwind. At almost the instant Duan Ling Tian's figure moved and charged towards the clouds and mist, an exit that would only accommodate him appeared there. Swoosh. Duan Ling Tian seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind as he passed through the exit and charged out to return to the gorge. Whereas meanwhile, that exit instantly closed. Meanwhile, Tanghua and Zhao Ming, who were within the inscription formation behind the cloud and mist, both jolted awake from their shock. Duan Ling Tian has fled. The two of them went gloomy, and their figure flashed out to arrive at the spot Duan Ling Tian stood at before he fled. They wanted to go out from here, yet they noticed a shapeless energy sealing them within and causing them to be unable to go out. Damn it, we've been played by that Duan Ling Tian. Tanghua was slightly exasperated. Duan Ling Tian. Zhao Ming let out an alarmed shout, and the origin energy on his body skyrocketed. A spirit sword appeared out of thin air within his hand. Then his 5th level wind concept fluxed as he stabbed towards the barrier before him that was formed from the shapeless energy. Bang! However, only a muffled sound sounded out in reply to Zhao Ming's attack. Zhao Ming was unable to break open the barrier condensed from the shapeless energy when exerting his full strength. What kind of **** place is this? Zhao Ming's face was grim. From the beginning until the end, Tang Hua had been watching Zhao Ming's actions. He's originally thought that when Zhao Ming attacked with full force, Zhao Ming would be able to easily obliterate the barrier condensed from the shapeless energy. However, the outcome instead exceeded his expectations. Zhao Ming's full force strike was actually unable to blast open this barrier. Zhao Ming, let's join forces, Tang Hua shouted out coldly, and his face was filled with visible rage. He never expected that he, who'd lived for more than half his life, was actually tricked by a little fellow around the age of 20. This was absolutely a terrible humiliation. All right, Zhao Ming replied. Subsequently, the two great 6th-level Void Initiation Stage experts joined forces to blast towards a point on the barrier before them. However, the outcome was the same. The barrier didn't budge an inch. Damn it! How did Duan Ling Tian go out? Zhao Ming gnashed his teeth as he spoke. He rushed out from here. I didn't notice exactly how he went out. Tang Hua's expression was extremely unsightly as well. Let's look around and see if there's an exit. Subsequently, Tang Hua and Zhao Ming looked around, intending to find an exit. In the end, they instead noticed that the lake they were at was completely enveloped by the barrier formed from the shapeless energy. That barrier had even pierced deep into the ground, and it caused them to be unable to dig a way out. Damn it! Exactly what sort of place is this? How exactly is that layer of barrier formed? Zhao Ming had an exasperated expression. Subsequently, Zhao Ming looked at Tang Hu and was almost roaring. It's all because of you. All of this wouldn't have happened if we killed Duan Ling Tian directly. Tang Hua's face sank. Zhao Ming, you get it straight. If it wasn't for you coveting the 10,000-year stalactite milk as well, would you let me keep him alive? After all is said and done, all this is because of our greed. Greed. Zhao Ming's figure shook and he was at a loss of what to say. That's right. If it wasn't for me being greedy towards the 10,000-year stalactite milk Duan Ling Tian spoke of, all this wouldn't have occurred. At this moment, he felt extreme regret. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Once I go out, I'll surely burn Duan Ling Tian's bones and scatter his ashes. I, Zhao Ming, don't want any 10,000-year stalactite milk anymore. Zhao Ming spoke with an unsightly expression. It's uncertain whether we're able to go out now, but if we're able to go out, I won't allow Duan Ling Tian to live before me for a moment longer. Tang Hua was enraged as well, and his eyes burned with extreme flames of rage. Within the inscription formation, Tang Hua and Zhao Ming were exasperated. Whereas outside the inscription formation, on a large tree in the spacious gorge, Duan Ling Tian lay on the tree with his leg crossed over the other as he cozily bathed under the sun. Big brother Ling Tian, you're too bad. You actually tricked them to come here. The little gold mouse stood on the tree trunk, and her body swung up and down like a swing. Bad. Duan Ling Tian shook his head and smiled, then extended his hand to block out the burning sun. If I didn't do this, I'll be killed by them sooner or later. Even if I really take them to the 10,000-year stalactite milk on Migres Peak, they'd abide by the vow and let me off for a time, but it wouldn't be long before they'd surely make a move against me once more. I was curious earlier about why Big Brother Ling Tian would bring them here. So it turned out that it was to trap them. The little gold mouse's jade green eyes flickered with a cunning smile. They can only blame themselves for being unfortunate. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curved slightly, and a wisp of disdain appeared. The things that happened today were smooth, to the point it caused him to feel slight disbelief. Of course, he knew that all this was because Tang Hua and Zhao Ming didn't have any knowledge towards the Tao of inscriptions. Otherwise, they wouldn't be tricked too easily. Big brother Ling Tian, they wouldn't force their way out, right? Should we leave here quickly? The little gold mouse's voice transmission contained fear mixed within. No matter if it was Tang Hua or Zhao Ming, they were both 6th-level Void Initiation Stage experts, and they were far from someone she could go against. There's no need. The senior that left that inscription formation behind is in existence at the void transformation stage or above. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. Unless a void transformation stage expert lends a hand, or perhaps a few experts at the 7th level of the void interpretation stage and above joined forces. Otherwise, don't dream of breaking open this inscription formation. Then wouldn't that mean that they'd be trapped to death within it? The little gold mouse said in shock. If nothing unexpected happened, they'd surely be trapped to death within it. Of course, if they're able to find that abode and obtain the experiences in the Tao of inscriptions left behind by that senior, they might have a chance of breaking open the formation and leaving, Duan Ling Tian said slowly. They have a chance to come out? The little gold mouse was slightly afraid. Don't worry, the Tao of inscriptions is greatly profound. They'd at least need to spend over 10 years of study to have some accomplishments in the Tao of inscriptions and obtain the ability to break open the formation. Duan Ling Tian wasn't worried in the slightest. If I'm still afraid of them after over 10 years, then I can directly kill them myself. Over 10 years. Not to mention over 10 years. Even if it was the martial competition of the 10 dynasties, that was 4 years from now. If he didn't have a cultivation at the 7th level of the void initiation stage or above, it would probably even be difficult for him to become imminent. The little gold mouse eased up when she heard this. I'll go bid my farewells to them. Then we'll return to Blackwind Ridge. No matter what, I must obtain the most points in the mission this time. Only the person that is ranked number 1 is able to obtain the void refining fruit. Duan Ling Tian stood up and his gaze descended onto the ball of mist and clouds in the gorge. Subsequently, his spiritual force fused into it, and he opened a tiny gap on the inscription formation. Next, his voice transmission passed through the inconspicuous little gap and entered into the ears of Manhwa and Zhao Ming, who were trapped within. Elder Manhwa, Elder Zhao Ming, the both of you can live in seclusion in there in the future. There are many fishes in the lake, and it ought to not cause the two of you to die from starvation. Ha ha ha. Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission was filled with ridicule. Whereas at the instant that Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission was severed by the little gap on the inscription formation that had closed up, Duan Ling Tian, Manhwa and Zhao Ming's flames of rage was lighted by Duan Ling Tian once more. However, it was useless no matter how they vented. They weren't able to forcefully break open the inscription formation in the end. Little gold, let's go. Whereas at this moment, Duan Ling Tian sat onto the back of the little gold mouse that had enlarged herself and headed towards the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. Presently, the little gold mouse wasn't the little gold mouse of the past. As a demon beast whose cultivation had broken through to the 7th level of the void prying stage, the little gold mouse's speed was extremely swift. Only 3 days had passed when she'd brought Duan Ling Tian back to Blackwind Ridge. That two old fellows have wasted so much of my time. I wonder if there are people who have surpassed my previous points. Duan Ling Tian muttered, and he had an unhappy expression. If Duan Ling Tian's muttering was heard by Manhwa and Zhao Ming, who were trapped in the inscription formation, their expressions would surely be extremely brilliant. The urgent task at hand is to find Vice Dean Qiming first. Otherwise, if there's no one to record my score, it would be useless no matter how many bandits I kill. After spending half a day of time, Duan Ling Tian had finally found Qiming. When he found Qiming was sighing. Vice Dean Qiming's thoughts that had drifted away were pulled back when Duan Ling Tian called out to him. Duan Ling Tian. Qiming was completely dumbstruck when he saw Duan Ling Tian. At the beginning, he even thought that he was seeing things, but before long, he confirmed it. The person that stood before him was indeed Duan Ling Tian himself, without a doubt. Duan Ling Tian, how did you escape from the hands of those two old fellows? Qiming asked curiously. It's a long story. I'll slowly tell Vice Dean when I have time in the future. Now that I speak of it, they've already wasted 3 days of my time. Vice Dean are there people who have surpassed my points now? Duan Ling Tian asked. Yes. Qiming nodded and said slowly. Not long ago, Crazy Young Master found the lair of the 7th leader of the bandits like you did and killed all 50+ bandits. Besides that, the 7th leader was a martial artist at the 2nd level of the void prying stage. 7th leader? 50+ bandits? Duan Ling Tian's pupils constricted as he sighed in surprise. I never imagined that crazy young master's luck was so good. The seventh leader was at the second level of the void prying stage, and he was equivalent to 30 points, then adding on another 50 plus bandits to that. It's very likely that crazy young master's points now have already passed 200. Duan Ling Tian felt pressure. Vice Dean Qi, I want to continue, said Duan Ling Tian to Qi Ming. Qi Ming nodded. Go. Qi Ming had a complicated gaze as he looked at Duan Ling Tian transforming into a bolt of violet lightning and vanishing before him. Duan Ling Tian's sudden return had exceeded his expectations. Now, I'm slightly hoping that this Duan Ling Tian is able to seize the first in the experience mission this time. If he gets to consume that void refining fruit, his cultivation would transcend above all the inner hall students. At the same time that Qi Ming followed Duan Ling Tian, his gaze flickered. Moreover, he's extremely mysterious. Perhaps he even possesses many abilities that are beyond others' expectations. The reason Qi Ming guessed like this was because Duan Ling Tian was able to shake off the two guardian elders of the Azure Forest Trisect and return safely. After all, those two guardian elders of the Azure Forest Trisect were 6th level void initiation stage experts, and being able to return under their gazes was sufficient to show how extraordinary Duan Ling Tian was. Perhaps Duan Ling Tian can represent our Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom to become eminent on the Darkstone Empire's stage and obtain the qualifications to head to the Darkhan Dynasty to compete with the young geniuses of the Darkhan Dynasty and the various empires. When he thought up to here, Qi Ming felt a wave of excitement. Duan Ling Tian, I hope you can go even further and create a legend of our Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. A young expert that is able to compare with the most outstanding young geniuses of the Darkhan Dynasty has never appeared in our Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. Qi Ming followed behind Duan Ling Tian like a shadow. He was looking forward to Duan Ling Tian obtaining the most points and winning the first in the experience missions this time. Qi Ming believed that under the boost of the void refining fruit, Duan Ling Tian would be able to go higher and further. Duan Ling Tian naturally didn't know of Qi Ming's thoughts. Presently, he was searching for the tracks of the bandits on Blackwind Ridge as if he'd gone mad. Whoosh! Not only was Duan Ling Tian searching, the little gold mouse was helping him search as well. The little gold mouse was unable to help Duan Ling Tian kill the bandits, but helping Duan Ling Tian find the bandits before Duan Ling Tian attacked them himself was possible. This was something that even Qi Ming didn't say anything about. After all, this didn't count as breaking the rules. The mission this time was only for a duration of half a month, where 4 days had already passed and only 11 remained. After searching for 3 days, Duan Ling Tian didn't discover the tracks of a single bandit. No matter if he searched on the ground or searched by looking down from high above in the sky. Unfortunately, the area my spiritual force can extend out is limited. If my spiritual force was able to cover the entire Blackwind Ridge, then those bandits would surely have no way to hide. Of course, Duan Ling Tian was only thinking. The Blackwind Ridge was so large that even Rebirth Martial Emperor at his prime all those years ago would perhaps be able to cover it completely when he used his spiritual force to search it. But the Rebirth Martial Emperor was in existence at the Martial Emperor stage during his prime. Presently, not to mention the highest known cultivation stage in Cloud Continent, the Martial Emperor stage, Duan Ling Tian was even quite a distance away from the Void Initiation stage. Suddenly, the movement ahead attracted Duan Ling Tian's attention. Duan Ling Tian approached and looked from afar, and he noticed a few familiar figures. These few people weren't bandits, yet Duan Ling Tian sank slightly. Lu Yu. The people that had appeared in Duan Ling Tian's field of vision was precisely the people from the Azure Forest Trisect. When he recalled Tang Hua and Zhao Ming, and recalled the 7-star sword sect disciples that had died at the hands of these people on that day, Duan Ling Tian's chest was almost filled by flames of rage. Vice Deal Qi. Duan Ling Tian didn't move to meet Lu Yu's group, nor did he let the void-prying stage martial artist behind Lu Yu's group, and he concealed himself at a side first. What? Qi Ming was slightly puzzled when he heard Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission. Those Azure Forest Trisect disciples. Can you do me a favor? Duan Ling Tian's voice transmission was filled with boundless killing intent. Qi Ming was first stunned when he heard this. Then he noticed Lu Yu's group as well. He naturally knew the meaning of Duan Ling Tian's words. Duan Ling Tian wanted him to take a bribe and allowed Duan Ling Tian to kill these few Azure Forest Trisect disciples. If it was in the past, Qi Ming would directly refuse. But now, when he recalled those two guardian elders of the Azure Forest Trisect that didn't respect the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial family, a trace of evil flames couldn't help but emerge within the heart of Qi Ming, who was one of the 5 great revered elders of the imperial family. Qi Ming was a person as well, and he had emotions. Because of the actions of Tang Hua and Zhao Ming a few days ago, he didn't have the slightest favorable impression of the Azure Forest Trisect. Moreover, Duan Ling Tian had said it clearly now. It was to give him a favor. Perhaps, the favor Duan Ling Tian owed was nothing at this moment. But what about in the future? He looked extremely favorably upon Duan Ling Tian's future. In the end, Qi Ming gritted his teeth and agreed. Then make it clean. I'll instruct the people that are following behind them to not interfere in the matter between you and them. At this moment, Qi Ming had a slight guilty feeling. But when he recalled Tang Hua and Zhao Ming's arrogance before him, the guilty feeling vanished completely. It wasn't worth for the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial family to protect the members of the Azure Forest Trisect. Thank you, Vice Dean Shi. Duan Ling Tian is indebted to your favor. Duan Ling Tian heaved a sigh of relief when Qi Ming agreed. He was really worried that Qi Ming wouldn't agree. If that was the case, then even if he hated Lu Yu's group to the extreme, he would have no way of doing anything. Of course, he was able to guess that a portion of the reason Qi Ming agreed so readily was surely because of Tang Hua and Zhao Ming capturing Duan Ling Tian a few days ago. At that time, Tang Hua and Zhao Ming had caused this vice dean to lose all face. Senior Sister Lu Yu, it has already been 4 days, and we haven't even encountered a single bandit. Where exactly are they hiding? An Azure Forest Trisect disciple smiled bitterly as he looked at Lu Yu. You're asking me? How would I know? Lu Yu said angrily. Senior Sister Lu Yu, don't get angry. So what if we have no gains from coming to Blackwind Ridge this time? Presently, the 2 guardian elders would have probably already killed that Duan Ling Tian, and that's a great merit. Another Azure Forest Trisect disciple grinned. Right? Once Duan Ling Tian is dead, the 3 sect leaders will surely be happy. At that time, all of us are people who have rendered meritorious service and will obtain the rewards of the sect. After all, it's we who told the 2 guardian elders of Duan Ling Tian's whereabouts. The eyes of the last Azure Forest Trisect disciple glowed, and it was as if he'd already seen the rewards bestowed by the sect. Lu Yu's expression eased up slightly when she heard this. Indeed, nothing could be more delightful than this. When she thought of how Duan Ling Tian was already dead, she couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. A few days ago in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy, the icy cold-gazed Duan Ling Tian look at her with caused her to have nightmares successively for a few days. In those nightmares, she was killed by Duan Ling Tian several times. I can finally have a good night's sleep tonight. Lu Yu was rather happy in her heart, and the depression from being unable to find a bandit was completely tossed to the back of her head. It really was all of you that leaked the news. It was at this moment that a voice that was like a ghost caused the expression of Lu Yu's group to go grim. Especially Lu Yu, this voice was one she'd heard countless times during her dreams in these past few days. Of course, they were all nightmares. Duan Ling Tian had approached Lu Yu's group since long ago, and he'd clearly heard what Lu Yu and the others had said. He was originally suspicious that it was Lu Yu's group that had leaked the matter of the experience missions in Blackwind Ridge. Presently, Lu Yu's group had admitted it themselves. So Tang Hua and Zhao Ming were brought over by them. Duan Ling Tian, you can deal with this matter however you want. Right at this moment, a voice transmission entered into Duan Ling Tian's ears, and it contained traces of rage mixed within. It was precisely Qi Ming. Obviously, Qi Ming had heard the conversation of the Azure Forest Trisect disciples. Whoosh! As soon as Duan Ling Tian's finished speaking, his figure moved to appear before Lu Yu's group. Squeak, squeak. The jade green eyes of the little gold mouse on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder flickered with cold lights as she stared at Lu Yu's group. Duan Ling Tian. Besides Lu Yu, who was mentally prepared, the other 3 Azure Forest Trisect disciples went pale when they saw Duan Ling Tian. What we said earlier was heard by Duan Ling Tian. Also, Duan Ling Tian actually didn't die? Could it be that the 2 guardian elders haven't made a move? Lu Yu, and you 3. You killed the disciples of my 7-star sword sect that day, and owe my 7-star sword sect numerous debts of blood. Today, the time for payback has come. Duan Ling Tian stared coldly at Lu Yu's group, and he spoke indifferently. His words didn't contain any emotions. However, anyone would be able to feel the killing intent that swept out from Duan Ling Tian. Along with the terrifying killing intent on Duan Ling Tian's body sweeping out, it enveloped onto Lu Yu's group and caused all their faces to go pale. Duan Ling Tian's killing intent was obtained from his career of bloodshed in his previous life. How would it be something that Lu Yu's group was able to endure? Duan Ling Tian. Don't you forget that we're undergoing the experience mission of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy, and there's someone following behind us to record our score. The Academy won't let you off if you dare kill us. Lu Yu took a deep breath, and she could feel her heartbeat ceaselessly increasing in speed. Really? Duan Ling Tian started laughing. Are you sure the Academy won't let me off? Duan Ling Tian's words caused Lu Yu's group to become absent-minded. It was at this instant that Duan Ling Tian attacked. Tempest Point. Duan Ling Tian pointed out with his finger, and a material point force condensed from origin energy howled as it flew out. Swish. A piercing howl sounded out, and an Azure Forest Trisect disciple beside Lu Yu directly fell to the ground. On his head, a savage bloody hole had appeared, and blood flowed endlessly from it. One of their fellow disciples from the same sect was killed, and it terrified Lu Yu's group to the point their faces instantly went ghastly pale. Duan Ling Tian, you really dared kill him. Lu Yu's voice was slightly trembling. As far as she was concerned, Duan Ling Tian was simply a madman. But in next to no time, when she noticed that there was no movement behind her, terror appeared on the faces of Lu Yu and the others. Where's the person from the Academy? Isn't there someone following us to record our scores? The 3 of them took the person from the Academy that recorded their scores as their life-saving straw. However, that person of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy didn't appear. When Duan Ling Tian saw Lu Yu's group looking left and right, he said in ridicule, "You don't have to look. All of you are bound to die for nothing here." After the experience mission ends, the Dragon and Phoenix Academy will announce that the disciples of the Azure Forest Trisect didn't heed advice and wandered arbitrarily in the Blackwind Ridge before disappearing. The expressions of Lu Yu's group went deathly pale. Swish. Duan Ling Tian pointed out once more, and the point force condensed from origin energy howled as it killed another Azure Forest Trisect disciple. It pierced through between the brows again, a similar death with the previous Azure Forest Trisect disciple. After killing 2 Azure Forest Trisect disciples successively, Duan Ling Tian's expression remained expressionless from the beginning until the end. These 2 Azure Forest Trisect disciples had killed countless 7-star sword sect disciples on that day. Today, he was only making them repay their debts of blood with blood. Flee. Besides Lu Yu, the last remaining Azure Forest Trisect disciple had a ghastly pale expression when he saw 2 of his senior brothers falling to the ground, and he turned around and fled. But could he flee? After all, even Lu Yu couldn't arouse the thought to flee now, because Lu Yu knew that it was impossible for them to flee under Duan Ling Tian's eyes. Flee. When Duan Ling Tian saw the Azure Forest Trisect disciple turn around intending to flee to the distance, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl into a sneer. Tempest Point. With a raise of his hand, 2-point forces condensed from origin energy whistled out and hit directly on the legs of the Azure Forest Trisect disciple. Bang! The body of the Azure Forest Trisect disciple, who had 2 bloody holes pierced on his legs, shook before his body crashed to the ground. He fell near Lu Yu. "Senior sister, save me." The Azure Forest Trisect disciple struggled to stretch out his hand and grab onto Lu Yu's legs, then said in panic, Senior sister, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Lu Yu had a bitter expression on her face. Safe. Presently, she was hardly able to protect herself, let alone save another. You don't want to die? Duan Ling Tian glanced coldly and indifferently at the Azure Forest Trisect disciple by Lu Yu's feet, then ridiculed. Do you think that the 7-star sword sect disciples that died at your hand wanted to die? The Azure Forest Trisect disciple's figure trembled when he heard Duan Ling Tian. Then he turned to lie before Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian, let me off. Let me off. I beg you, I beg you. Those 7-star sword sect disciples that died at your hand. At the instant they were killed by you, they similarly despaired like you are now. If you have a second lifetime, remember well, when you've done something bad, you have to return what you owe sooner or later. Duan Ling Tian glanced in disgust at this Azure Forest Trisect disciple. Then he abruptly raised his hand. Tempest Point. The exceedingly condensed origin energy point force flashed out. In the next moment, the sounds of begging of the Azure Forest Trisect disciple came to an abrupt stop. Bang! His figure crashed to the ground, and he was devoid of any further movement. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian's gaze descended onto Lu Yu. Duan Ling Tian, it's useless even if you kill me now. The 2 guardian elders of our Azure Forest Trisect have already found out of your whereabouts. You're dead. Lu Yu realized that danger was imminent, and she directly tore off all pretenses and was without any worries. You're talking about Tang Hua and Zhao Ming? Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but laugh. I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. Tang Hua and Zhao Ming already found me 4 days ago. No, impossible. Lu Yu's complacent smile instantly froze. Then she was almost roaring. You're lying, you're surely lying. As far as she was concerned, if the 2 guardian elders found Duan Ling Tian 4 days ago, then it would be impossible for Duan Ling Tian to be standing here now. She didn't believe what Duan Ling Tian said. Lying? Do you think there's any need for that? Duan Ling Tian smiled extremely brilliantly. Lu Yu's figure shook. Right. Duan Ling Tian seems to have no need to lie to me. But she was unable to wrap her head around it. How exactly did this Duan Ling Tian escape this calamity? Unfortunately, Lu Yu would never find out. Swish. Duan Ling Tian's origin energy point force tore through the sky, and it easily entered between Lu Yu's brows. When facing Duan Ling Tian, Lu Yu didn't have the slightest ability to resist. Bang! Lu Yu's corpse fell down, dying without peace. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian felt as if he was worlds apart when he recalled the scene of meeting Lu Yu for the first time in the demonic Lotus Blade sect all those years ago. Knowing that Qi Ming was concealed nearby, Duan Ling Tian didn't utilize his pill fire or weapon flame. He casually took out a fire piston and burnt the corpses of all the Azure Forest Trisect disciples. It wasn't long before the 4 of them had completely vanished from this world. From the beginning until the end, Duan Ling Tian had a calm expression as he watched, and his gaze didn't contain the slightest emotion. Azure Forest Trisect. This is only the beginning. When he recalled the horrifying scene of the former 7-star sword sect being slaughtered, the killing intent deep within Duan Ling Tian's eyes was awe-inspiring. Vice Dean Shi, thank you. After a short moment, Duan Ling Tian came back to his senses, then thanked Qi Ming via voice transmission. If it wasn't for Qi Ming, it would be impossible for him to take revenge for his fellow disciples that had died. He's remembered this favor in his heart. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian's figure moved to flash out. There's still another 8 days of time. I must find the next bandit lair. According to Duan Ling Tian's knowledge, the pack of bandits that were the target of the experience mission of the Dragon and Phoenix Academy this time was divided into 9 groups, and they were scattered all around Blackwind Ridge. They were respectively led by a bandit leader. The group of bandits that were led by the 9th leader was annihilated by Duan Ling Tian a few days ago. Besides that, Crazy Young Master had annihilated the group of bandits led by the 7th leader. As of now, there were another 7 groups remaining. Needless to say, Duan Ling Tian's luck was good. 2 hours later, he encountered a middle-aged man that was entering the Blackwind Ridge from outside. The middle-aged man wore the clothes of an ordinary village, his figure thin and small, and he was cautious all along his way. There's something strange about this person. Duan Ling Tian concealed himself at the side, and his eyes focused on the man. As a mercenary who'd walked out of mountains of corpses and rivers of blood in his previous life, Duan Ling Tian had an especially acute sense of smell towards blood. Presently, he'd smelled an extremely dense smell of blood from this thin and small middle-aged man. He could be sure that this person that wore the clothes of a villager was absolutely not an ordinary villager. What a joke. This smell of blood on this person was at least achieved from killing over 100 people. If nothing unexpected happens, he should be a bandit without a doubt. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed as he silently followed from behind. Squeak, squeak. The little gold mouse on Duan Ling Tian's shoulder cried out. Big brother Ling Tian, isn't he a villager? Why are you following him? The little gold mouse had followed Duan Ling Tian when he wandered about to gain experience in tempering for some time, and her experience wasn't inferior to a human, so she recognized the middle-aged man's clothes with a glance. Villager. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. Little gold, you'll know soon. Under the little gold mouse's bewildered gaze, Duan Ling Tian followed the thin and small middle-aged man to pass through a dense forest. Needless to say, this thin and small middle-aged man was exceedingly cautious. He took numerous circles before walking back. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian followed the thin and small middle-aged man to walk into a small gorge. The surrounding walls of the small gorge were overgrown with weeds, and some weed were even taller than a person. Suddenly, Duan Ling Tian's eyes squinted, and he had a surprised expression. Nearby, the small and thin middle-aged man pulled open the weeds that were taller than a person. Then his entire body was concealed within it and vanished. Squeak, squeak. The little gold mouse cried out and asked Duan Ling Tian via voice transmission. Big brother Ling Tian, where is he? Let's go. Duan Ling Tian used his actions to respond to the little gold mouse. Duan Ling Tian lifted apart the weeds at the place that the thin and small middle-aged man lifted open the weeds. A cave passageway that could accommodate one person to move in and out appeared before Duan Ling Tian's eyes. It's really concealed. If I came looking for it myself, I'd surely be unable to find this place. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed as he brought along the little gold mouse to enter the pitch-black cave passageway. Not long after, a small bit of light appeared at the other end of the cave passageway. Along with Duan Ling Tian walking forward with large strides, the small dot of light became larger and larger, and an exit appeared before Duan Ling Tian's eyes. Duan Ling Tian walked out the exit and looked out. An enormous cave that was brightly illuminated by lamps appeared before his eyes. Around this enormous cave was 50 or 60 small caves, and it was a peculiar scene. Within the enormous cave, along with the return of the thin and small middle-aged man, a group of people walked out of the small caves, and all of them looked excitedly at him. Thin monkey, what's the condition like outside? An emaciated old man walked out of a cave at the center, and the old man's voice was hoarse and unpleasant. Sixth leader. The old man's appearance caused the group of people, including the small and thin middle-aged man, to greet him respectfully. Sixth leader. Duan Ling Tian's eyes shone. Although he guessed that the thin and small middle-aged man was a member of the bandits, Duan Ling Tian never expected that there actually was such a big fish behind him. Let's see what his cultivation is like. Duan Ling Tian thought in his heart and stretched his spiritual force out. After a short amount of time, under the detection of his spiritual force, the cultivations of the bandits were unable to escape his detection. The sixth leader of the bandits was a second-level void prying stage martial artist. Besides the sixth leader, there was another first-level void prying stage bandit. As for the other people, they were all martial artists below the void prying stage and were of no threat to Duan Ling Tian. The second level of the void prying stage is able to exert the strength of 3,000 ancient mammoths. His spirit weapon ought to be a grade 7 spirit weapon. Duan Ling Tian started to calculate the strengths of himself and the enemy. When utilizing a grade 7 spirit weapon, his offensive capability wouldn't surpass the strength of 3,800 ancient mammoths. Whereas I possess a strength comparable to the strength of 2,000 ancient mammoths, and when amplified via my grade 4 spirit sword, my offensive capability is able to arrive at the strength of 3,200 ancient mammoths. If force is not considered, I'm inferior to him. Whereas in terms of force, unless he has comprehended a half-step advanced force. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to compare to me. He looks to be extremely old and probably doesn't have any comprehension ability, so it isn't likely that he's able to comprehend half-step advanced force. When he thought up to here, cold lights flashed within Duan Ling Tian's eyes. In other words, it isn't difficult for me to kill him. Whereas while Duan Ling Tian's thoughts were spinning, Sixth leader, it's calm and tranquil outside, and I didn't notice anything off. Besides that, I noticed a village that not only has plenty of food, there's also plenty of women. As the small and thin middle-aged man finished speaking, a smile of lust appeared on his face. Women. Instantly, the gazes of the other bandits lit up brightly. Damn it, I've been holding back for a month. I must sleep with a few more this time. Many bandits wished for nothing more than to kill their way into that village. Slaughter the village, seize the food, and steal the women. Thin Monkey, you've done well. After we deal with that village, I'll let you choose the women first. The sixth leader nodded in satisfaction. Thank you, sixth leader. The thin and small middle-aged bandit had an excited expression. The other bandits instead had expressions of envy and jealousy. Sixth elder, when are we leaving? A man with a saber scar on his face had eyes that emitted light. All of you don't have to leave anymore. The sixth leader hadn't even had the time to respond when a cold and indifferent voice suddenly sounded out and resounded within the entire cave. Who is it? The sixth leader was the first to react, and his face became grim. Whereas at the instant the sixth leader spoke. Swish. A violet-colored sword light that was difficult to perceive tore through the sky, and it tore through the night sky like a swift shooting star. Who? The man with the saber scar on his face that asked the sixth leader the question earlier didn't even have the time to react when his throat was pierced by a sword and fresh blood splattered out. Dead. The person that attacked was naturally Duan Ling Tian. After killing this first-level Void Prying Stage bandit, only the second-level Void Prying Stage sixth leader remains. When Duan Ling Tian withdrew his sword, he heard the sixth leader's alarmed shout. Whirlwind. After succeeding, Duan Ling Tian didn't hesitate in the slightest, and he seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind that blew towards the sixth leader. Duan Ling Tian, who exploded out with his entire strength and stood on half-step advanced wind force and half-step advanced lightning force, arrived before the sixth leader in an instant. You're courting death. The sixth leader was in a violent rage. Wish a raise of his hand. The origin energy on his saber rages and elementary saber force suffused it. Wham! The saber tore through the sky as it slashed towards Duan Ling Tian. Under the fueling of the strength of 4,000 ancient mammoth, the saber's speed was extremely swift. But unfortunately, Duan Ling Tian's sword was even swifter. Sword drawing arts. At almost the exact same instant that the sixth leader attacked, Duan Ling Tian made his move. Swish. A sword light that was swift to the limit flashed. Right at this instant, 4,200 ancient mammoth silhouettes condensed into form above Duan Ling Tian. Besides the white color that belonged to origin energy, there was another strand of violet and a strand of azure within the sword light. This sword strike of Duan Ling Tian's contained the 60% amplification of the Grade 4 Spirit Sword that amplified his base strength of 2,000 ancient mammoths. The amplification was the strength of 1,200 ancient mammoth silhouettes. Besides that, the half-step advanced lightning force and half-step advanced wind force bestowed the strength of 1,000 ancient mammoths onto Duan Ling Tian. In total, it was the strength of 4,200 ancient mammoths. In terms of strength, he was even stronger than the bandit's sixth leader. Most importantly, the sword-drawing arts that Duan Ling Tian had executed now was originally adept at speed. His strength was stronger than the sixth leader, combined with the speed of his sword-drawing arts. The speed of the sword in Duan Ling Tian's hand completely crushed the speed of the saber in the hands of the sixth leader. Swish. A clear sound resounded out, and practically all the bandits present didn't see Duan Ling Tian's movements clearly. Whirlwind. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian's figure flashed to dodge to the side. whereas the sword in the hand of sixth leader fiercely flashed towards the place Duanling Tian was standing earlier. But his movements still didn't change in the slightest even after Duanling Tian had left the spot. Of course, it wasn't that the reaction of sixth leader was slow, but was instead that a fine rip had appeared on the throat of the sixth leader, and then it started to spew out dazzling and resplendent blood. Blood splattered all over the floor and seemed to have transformed into numerous red roses. Clang! The sixth leader and his saber were carried away fiercely by momentum, and they scraped the floor all the way. After a short moment, the sixth leader lay there on the ground and was completely devoid of any signs of life. Dead. Silent. The spacious cave was deathly silent as all the bandits were dumbstruck. In the blink of an eye, the sixth leader that was the strongest amongst them and the first-level void-prying stage bandit that was the sixth leader's right-hand man were both killed, and the scene before them almost made them unable to recover from their shock. After a short while, the bandits all went ghastly pale after they recovered from their shock. Flee! Flee! When facing the violet-clothed young man that had killed two void-prying stage experts in the blink of an eye, they didn't have the slightest battle intent and only thought of fleeing this place right away. But would they be able to flee? Swish! 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 Along with the grade 4 spirit sword in Duanling Tian's hand flashing, the bandits perished beneath his sword one after the other. Lord, spare me! Spare me! Lord! The numerous bandits pleaded for mercy ceaselessly. But Duanling Tian was currently like a bloodthirsty Azura that had crawled out from hell, and he reaped the lives of the bandits to his heart's content. Not long after, the spacious cave had returned to calm, as all the bandits were dead. Grade 4 spirit sword, Qi Ming, who'd followed Duanling Tian in and was concealed at the side long ago, had finally recovered from his shock. When Duanling Tian attacked and killed the sixth leader, he'd guessed that the spirit sword in Duanling Tian's hand might be a grade 4 spirit sword. But he didn't dare confirm his suspicions. After all, a grade 4 spirit sword was too shocking. Normally speaking, a grade 4 weapons craftsman was only present within those dynasties. Moreover, they were exceedingly rare. Duanling Tian knows a grade 4 weapons craftsman? Qi Ming was greatly shocked, and he gasped in his heart. As far as he was concerned, since Duanling Tian had a grade 4 spirit sword in his possession, it meant that Duanling Tian had a good relationship with a grade 4 weapons craftsman. I originally thought he was only a 7-star sword sect disciple. I never imagined that he was related to a grade 4 weapons craftsman. Qi Ming sighed in his heart. Vice Dean Qi, please do the count. After he put away all the spoils of the battle, Duanling Tian's gaze shot onto Qi Ming once more. Subsequently, Duanling Tian left the cave and followed along the passageway to arrive outside. Duanling Tian wasn't anxious to leave, and he counted his spoils as he waited for Qi Ming. Firstly, Duanling Tian withdrew the spatial ring of the sixth leader. Similar to the spatial ring of the ninth elder, there was a large amount of gold and silver. But these things didn't have much allure to Duanling Tian. Before long, Duanling Tian noticed a dim green-colored pearl within the sixth leader's spatial ring. The reason this pearl caught Duanling Tian's attention was entirely because when Duanling Tian's spiritual force touched the pearl, a faint fluctuation of spiritual force was transmitted from it. Of course, the spiritual force fluctuation within the pearl was without an owner. What's going on? Not only that, Duanling Tian also noticed that when his spiritual force touched the dim green pearl, the spiritual force within had actually gradually fused in his spiritual force and ceaselessly strengthened his spiritual force. What exactly is this pearl? Under his curiosity, Duanling Tian closed his eyes and searched the memories of the Rebirth Martial Emperor to see if there are any record of this pearl. Soul Peel. In next to no time, Duanling Tian found records relating to this pearl. A soul pearl was in existence similar to a spirit fruit. Ordinarily speaking, if one used special methods to gather the lunare force, then there would be a chance to condense it into a soul pearl after a few tens of years. Lunare force was the energy of the moon in the night sky. The soul pearl was sourced from pure lunare force, and it contained spiritual force that was able to easily fuse into the spiritual force of a human. Ordinarily speaking, there are methods to gather lunare force and condense a soul pearl, and an inscription formation is one of those methods. Duan Ling Tian thought in his heart. It was precisely because of this that the Rebirth Martial Emperor would know of the existence of soul pearls. During his prime, the Rebirth Martial Emperor had once gathered lunare force with an inscription formation and condensed a soul pearl to bestow upon his personal disciple. A soul pearl was able to improve spiritual force. Although its effects weren't great, it wouldn't be like spirit fruits that have diminishing medicinal effect after each consumption. So long as one had sufficient soul pearls, one's spiritual force could be improved directly. Of course, a heaven-defying item like a soul peel had some limitations. A soul pearl was at most able to improve the spiritual force of a martial artist or demon beast below the martial monarch stage. Once one's spiritual force stepped into the martial monarch stage, the soul pearl wouldn't have any effect any longer. My spiritual force has broken through. When Duan Ling Tian returned to his senses, he noticed that his spiritual force had actually broken through. It had broken through to the third level of the void prying stage. Although it was only the breakthrough of his spiritual force, Duan Ling Tian was still wildly happy. Although there were some differences between the characteristics of a soul pearl and a spirit fruit, it was no different to a spirit fruit in pushing forward the level of spiritual force later on. Later on, once my cultivation breaks through to the second level of the void prying stage, my spiritual force will be pushed to the fourth level of the void prying stage. It will forever maintain being 2 levels higher than my cultivation. Duan Ling Tian's gaze descended onto the soul pearl. Presently, the dim green-colored soul pearl had become a crystalline and translucent crystal pearl. Pop! It was at this moment that the crystal pearl was enveloped by Duan Ling Tian's spiritual force and instantly shattered into bits before vanishing without a trace. As a miraculous item that is able to improve the spiritual force of a void transformation stage expert, the effects of a soul pearl were small as expected. My spiritual force was only at the first level of the void prying stage, and after consuming a soul pearl, it actually only advanced to the third level of the void prying stage. Duan Ling Tian sighed in his heart. He could imagine that the higher the level of his spiritual force, he would need to absorb even more soul pearls to break through. I wonder where this 6th leader obtained the soul pearl. Duan Ling Tian noticed that there was only one soul pearl within the 6th leader's spatial ring, and it caused him to be unable to help himself from being disappointed. But my spiritual force advancing to the third level of the void prying stage can be considered to be an unexpected cause for happiness. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian let out a breath of air, and he felt he was too greedy. With my current spiritual force, so long as I don't encounter the first leader of these bandits, then even if they were at the third level of the void prying stage, I can use my soul skill, 1,000 illusions, to easily obtain victory against the other leaders, as long they aren't inscription masters. When he thought up to here, Duan Ling Tian's feelings surged. Meanwhile, Qi Ming walked out from the cave. Vice Dean Qi, how many points did these bandits give me? Duan Ling Tian looked at Qi Ming as he asked. Qi Ming looked at Duan Ling Tian as if looking at a monster, then said after a short while, 236 points. Coupled with the points from before, 378 points. 378 points? Duan Ling Tian nodded. Continue. When he saw Duan Ling Tian walk out with large strides, Qi Ming followed as well. Vice Dean Qi Yu. Duan Ling Tian noticed that Qi Ming didn't conceal himself, and he couldn't help but be slightly curious. At the same time, he noticed that Qi Ming had something difficult to voice out. Vice Dean Qi, speak frankly if you have anything you want to say. Duan Ling Tian smiled. He owed Qi Ming a favor, and he remembered it in his heart. As far as he was concerned, if he had the opportunity to return the favor earlier, he would be able to feel slightly at ease in his heart. He wasn't willing to owe a favor. Qi Ming took a deep breath and asked, Duan Ling Tian, the spirit weapon you used earlier was a grade 4 spirit sword? I was wondering what was troubling Vice Dean Qi. Yes, what I used earlier was indeed a grade 4 spirit sword. Duan Ling Tian nodded. You know a grade 4 weapons craftsman. Qi Ming stared fixedly at Duan Ling Tian. It was difficult for his gaze to move in the slightest, and it was as if it had rooted onto Duan Ling Tian. Sort of. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Sort of. Qi Ming was stunned. How could Qi Ming have imagined that the Grade 4 spirit sword in Duan Ling Tian's possession was refined by Duan Ling Tian himself, and the Grade 4 weapons craftsman he spoke of was Duan Ling Tian himself? Vice Dean Qi. Duan Ling Tian discerned that Qi Ming was interested towards the Grade 4 spirit weapon, and he said straightforwardly, "If you're interested in a Grade 4 spirit weapon, I can ask that Grade 4 weapons craftsman to refine one for you. Just take it as me returning that favor I owe you." Of course, Vice Dean Qi has to prepare the materials yourself. Duan Ling Tian added in the end. "I can ask that Grade 4 weapons craftsman to refine one for you. I can ask that Grade 4 weapons craftsman to refine one for you." At this moment, only these words remained and ceaselessly resounded in Qi Ming's ears. Gradually, Qi Ming's face flushed red as he asked, "Really? Vice Dean Qi, why would I deceive you?" Duan Ling Tian shook his head and said, "Moreover, I can guarantee that the Grade 4 spirit weapon refined by that weapons craftsman for you will have a minimum amplification of 60%. Duan Ling Tian, you said an amplification of 60%? Are you sure? Duan Ling Tian's words caused Qi Ming's figure to tremble, and he shook while having an expression of disbelief. A Grade 4 spirit weapon that provided a 60% amplification. That was a Grade 4 spirit weapon that was the top grade amongst the top grade. Even in the entire Darkhan dynasty, it was an existence that could be called a treasure. Yes, Duan Ling Tian nodded. The Grade 4 spirit weapons refined by that weapons craftsman are all able to attain the effect of a 60% amplification. But, Vice Dean Qi, are you sure you want to use the favor I owe you on this Grade 4 spirit weapon? Duan Ling Tian looked at Qi Ming and asked. Qi Ming went silent when he heard this. After a short moment, he took a deep breath and nodded. I understand. Duan Ling Tian nodded. After this mission ends, tell me what spirit weapon you want to be refined. At that time, I'll contact that weapons craftsman and make a custom Grade 4 spirit weapon for you. Of course, only after I see that weapons craftsman would I know what materials are needed to refine your spirit weapon. As Duan Ling Tian finished speaking, he heaved a sigh of relief. He was extremely happy that he was able to return the favor he owed Qi Ming so easily. As for the matter that he himself was the Grade 4 weapons craftsman was something he didn't say. After all, it was too unbelievable. All right, Qi Ming nodded and his face flushed red in excitement. At that time, pass the detailed list of materials to me and I'll be responsible to find it for you. It wasn't that Qi Ming didn't think of the future value of this favor Duan Ling Tian owed him, but the temptation of a Grade 4 spirit weapon was truly too great. He was unable to endure the temptation. Of course, many years later, Qi Ming would be extremely regretful every time he recalled the decision he made today. All these were matters of the future. Duan Ling Tian left the gorge and continued searching forward swiftly. Days passed by, one by one. 3 days remained to the end of the mission, and Duan Ling Tian's mission points were still stuck at 378 points. In the mission this time, Crazy Young Master, Luo Zhan, is in the lead at the moment. Luo Zhan's points are at 462 points. Behind him is the Sword Young Master, Chen Xiao Shui with 422 points. Then it's Flame Young Master with 406 points. Qi Ming's voice transmission sounded out by Duan Ling Tian's ears. You're currently ranked number 4. No matter if it's Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, or Flame Young Master, they'd similarly annihilated 2 groups of bandits like you. Qi Ming added. Duan Ling Tian was stunned, then he sighed. As expected of figures amongst the 5 great young masters, they're really not simple. Duan Ling Tian, you're actually already not bad compared to them. You don't have any knowledge of Blackwind Ridge. Whereas the 3 of them have frequently battled fierce beasts in Blackwind Ridge to temper themselves. Qi Ming said, so, their understanding of Blackwind Ridge far surpasses yours. This is also the reason that they found 2 groups of bandits each. Duan Ling Tian came to a sudden understanding. Although there were no demon beasts in Blackwind Ridge, fierce beasts gathered like the clouds in Blackwind Ridge. All along the way, a great number of fierce beasts had died at his hand. But unfortunately, no matter how strong a fierce beast was, it didn't carry even a single point. If he wanted points, then he had to kill bandits. Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master have annihilated 2 groups of bandits each. Then wouldn't the others have no points? Duan Ling Tian asked curiously. How could that be possible? Qi Ming shook his head. The others killed many bandits that were by themselves. Not everyone has your courage, daring to drive straight into the enemy's den and enter the lair of the bandits to carry out a slaughter. That Chai Jin found a group of bandits as well. But he was extremely unfortunate, as the bandit leader of that group was a second-level void prying stage martial artist. Qi Ming said. In the end, he was nearly killed. Fortunately, our people saved him. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Chai Jin. He'd fought Chai Jin and knew that although Chai Jin was a first-level void prying stage, he didn't comprehend force. He belonged to the first-level void prying stage martial artists whose strength was at the bottom. But that Chai Jin is unfortunate indeed. According to the rules of the mission this time, he was saved by another and escaped with his life, so his points will be 0. Duan Ling Tian felt sorrow for Chai Jin. Vice Dean Shi, could it be that the group of bandits remaining now are the group led by the first leader? Duan Ling Tian asked. Exactly, Qi Ming replied, then reminded. Duan Ling Tian, Luo Zhan, and Zhang Yan have already found the location of the first leader of the bandits and his group. But they're both unwilling to join forces, so they've been constantly at a stalemate while hiding in the shadows. After all, if they joined forces, then even if they killed the first leader of the bandits, the points would be shared equally. Of course, what was most important was that even if they joined forces, they weren't certain in being able to kill the first leader of the bandits. Qi Ming's words caused Duan Ling Tian's figure to shake. Crazy Young Master and Flame Young Master had already found the location of the bandits' first leader? Looks like I have to make the best use of my time. 2 days later, Duan Ling Tian had finally found the location the first leader of the bandits was hiding. Presently, outside the gorge that the first leader of the bandits was hiding in. Besides Duan Ling Tian, there was also Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master hiding here. Besides Chai Jin's points being cleaned out to 0 and was automatically disqualified, all the other first-level void prying stage students of the academy were all gathered here. Continuing on like this is useless. The mission this time will end in a day. When he saw Duan Ling Tian arriving late, the Sword Young Master, Chen Xiao Shui, spoke out to break the silence. If that first leader is a 4th-level void prying stage martial artist, then unless the 4 of us join forces, otherwise, it's utterly impossible for us to kill him, said Luo Zhan. I have no objections, said Zhang Yan. In next to no time, the gazes of the 3 shot at Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian glanced indifferently at the 3 of them, then he shrugged. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Not interested? Duan Ling Tian's words caused the 3 of them to be stunned. Flame Young Master's face sank. Duan Ling Tian. Even if just one of the 4 of us is lacking, it would probably be difficult for us to take the first leader down. Even if the 4 of us attack together, we don't have sufficient certainty. If you don't work together with us, then even if the mission time ends, that first leader of the bandits would surely still be well and living. At that time, the academy would very likely determine our missions have failed. Mission failure. Flame Young Master's words caused the expressions of Crazy Young Master and Sword Young Master to become serious. If the mission this time was really determined to be a failure by the academy because the first leader of the bandits was alive, then their actions earlier would be seen as useless, let alone fight for the void refining fruit. I know that there's some conflicts between us, but I hope you won't be petty at this time. The gaze Flame Young Master shot at Duan Ling Tian became fierce. Petty. Duan Ling Tian laughed and glanced deeply at Zhang Yan. Flame Young Master, you think too much of yourself. It isn't because of the conflict between you and me that I don't want to join forces with all of you. It's instead because I feel there's no need. I alone am sufficient to annihilate the first leader of the bandits. Duan Ling Tian's voice was filled with confidence. It caused Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master's faces to freeze. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian was able to feel 3 pairs of doubtful gazes. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth lightly curled up as a wisp of an indifferent smile appeared. The facts would prove everything. Whoosh. In the next moment, Duan Ling Tian moved. He flashed into the gorge that the bandits' first leader and his subordinates hid in. Duan Ling Tian is simply courting death. When he saw Duan Ling Tian really charging in, Flame Young had an expression of disdain. I'm going to watch as well. Sword Young Master's figure flashed, and he followed up. Crazy Young Master followed closely behind. I want to properly watch the scene of Duan Ling Tian being saved from the hands of the first leader of the bandits by Vice Dean Shi. At that time, Duan Ling Tian's points will be reduced to 0. Flame Young Master followed up, and he had an expression of taking pleasure in Duan Ling Tian's misfortune. He'd never thought that Duan Ling Tian would be able to kill the first leader of the bandits. Although Duan Ling Tian had fought him to a tie that day, he didn't use force or a spirit weapon that day. As far as he was concerned, his force might be inferior to Duan Ling Tian, but his strength was instead comparable to Duan Ling Tian's strength and force together. Whereas as the third prince of the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's imperial family, he possessed a grade 5 spirit weapon. This was something that was too high for Duan Ling Tian to reach. After Duan Ling Tian entered the gorge, he noticed that besides Vice Dean Shi, Crazy Young Master's group of 3 had followed as well. He couldn't help but frown. Vice Dean Shi, if I kill that first leader of the bandits, would they be able to reap the rewards of my victory and slaughter those other bandits? Duan Ling Tian sent a voice transmission to ask Qi Ming, who was concealed at the side. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Perhaps the mission points from a single bandit was little, but when added together, it was undoubtedly an extremely considerable number. Just like the 378 points Duan Ling Tian possessed currently. Amongst these points, the 3 void-prying stage martial artists only gave him 60 points, and the remaining points were all from the other bandits. Even if it's the first leader, he's only worth 200 points. Perhaps he isn't worth more than the group of bandits subordinate to him. Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. He didn't wish for someone to reap the benefits of his victory. Logically speaking, doing this can't be considered to be going against the rules. If you have the confidence to kill the first leader, then try your best to kill more of the other bandits with comparatively stronger strengths. Qi Ming replied via voice transmission. Although he felt it was unbelievable that Duan Ling Tian wanted to challenge the bandit's first leader by himself, but when he thought of Duan Ling Tian's mysteriousness, he had an extra sense of anticipation in his heart. I can only do that. Duan Ling Tian wasn't surprised when he obtained the answer. Kill. Duan Ling Tian's gaze went cold as his figure flashed out, and he seemed to have transformed into a gale that swept towards the bandits nearby the entrance to the gorge. As expected of the bandit lair that is led by the first leader of the bandits. There was a half-step void stage bandit and 2 9th-level nascent soul stage bandits amongst these bandits. The bandits only reacted when Duan Ling Tian appeared before them, and they instantly attacked Duan Ling Tian. In the sky, numerous lifelike ancient mammoth silhouettes condensed into form. Unfortunately, their speeds were nothing worth mentioning when compared with Duan Ling Tian. Swish. With just a swing of his sword, Duan Ling Tian had annihilated these bandits. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian charged into the gorge, and all the bandits within the gorge were alarmed. Kill him. Kill. The eyes of the bandits went red as they charged desperately towards Duan Ling Tian. Origin energy skyrocketed atop the sabers in the hands of the bandits as they flashed out fiercely. But unfortunately, no matter how many there were of them, they were bound to be the souls of the dead under Duan Ling Tian's sword, killing a man every 10 steps, unhindered for 1,000 miles. This saying was exactly portrayed by the current Duan Ling Tian. Kill, kill, kill. The sword in Duan Ling Tian's hand was like a death god's scythe, the brush of the judge that decided life and death. Every time he attacked, it would take away the life of 1 or more bandits. It wasn't long before nearly half of the bandits in the gorge were killed by Duan Ling Tian. Because of Qi Ming's reminder, almost all the bandits Duan Ling Tian killed were at the 8th level of the nascent soul stage or above, and there was even 3 first-level void-prying stage elite bandits amongst them. Relying on his spiritual force to judge the cultivation of the bandits caused the entire process to be exceedingly easy. In a short moment of time, the strongest amongst the remaining bandits were only at the 7th level of the nascent soul stage. These bandits were scared shitless by Duan Ling Tian, and all of them retreated. Who? Right at this moment, a swift figure dashed out from within the cave, and in the sky, 7,500 ancient mammoth silhouettes dashed out behind him. The person that arrived emitted waves of a vast and majestic aura. This aura came from the strand of earthen yellow energy on the origin energy on the person that had arrived. Earth Force. 5th level of the Void Prying stage. Half-step Advanced Earth Force. Without using his spiritual force to detect it, Duan Ling Tian was able to discern the strength of the person who'd arrived just from the 7,500 ancient mammoth silhouettes that the person had condensed into form from drawing upon the energy of heaven and earth. In next to no time, a curly bearded man in a gray robe appeared before Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian knew that this person ought to be the first leader of the bandits. When the curly bearded man saw the corpses that covered the floor, crimson red suffused his eyes. Subsequently, he stared fixedly at Duan Ling Tian and shouted out angrily, "Kid, you killed my brothers. You deserve death." Whereas now, Qi Ming, who was concealed in the shadows, went gloomy. 5th level of the Void Prying stage. This first leader of the bandits has actually broken through. The breakthrough of the bandits' first leader had exceeded his expectations. Although even if the first leader had broken through, he was nothing in Qi Ming's eyes. But to Duan Ling Tian, it undoubtedly brought about an even greater level of difficulty. Now, he'd already accumulated strength while waiting to attack out, and he was prepared to save Duan Ling Tian at any moment. Although in this way, Duan Ling Tian's score would be wiped clean, and perhaps would cause the void refining fruit to slip past Duan Ling Tian's fingers, but this was still better than being killed. Only when one was alive did one have hope. 5th level of the Void Prying stage. Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master that were hiding in the shadows like Qi Ming went pale. They originally thought that the first leader of the bandits was only at the 4th level of the Void Prying stage, and this was why thoughts of joining forces arose within their hearts. But now, when they saw the 5th level Void Prying stage cultivation of the bandits' first leader, they were completely dumbstruck. At the same time, strands of coldness arose within their hearts. As far as they were concerned, since the first leader of the bandits was at the 5th level of the Void Prying stage, then even if they joined forced with Duan Ling Tian, it would still be impossible for them to be a match for him. At that time, they might even have approached a situation that was deathly dangerous because of this and make the person behind them that was responsible for recording their scores to save them. Whereas their score would be reduced to 0. Duan Ling Tian, I really should thank you for protecting my points. Flame Young Master's eyes flashed, and he was slightly taking pleasure in Duan Ling Tian's misfortune. But in the next moment, he was dumbstruck. Within Flame Young Master's field of vision, the first leader's figure flashed and had gone berserk as he attacked Duan Ling Tian. In the sky, 7,500 ancient mammoth silhouettes dashed out. It was at this moment, as if they discussed it earlier, all the 7,500 ancient mammoth silhouettes dispersed at the same time within an instant, and they vanished without a trace. Whereas the first leader's figure stopped halfway and was staring blankly on the spot. Whoosh! In next to no time, he saw Duan Ling Tian attack. Tempest Point. With a raise of his hand, Duan Ling Tian pointed out, and a piercing howl sounded out. As the origin energy point force shot out from the top of his finger, the half-step advanced wind force and half-step advanced lightning force suffused into it. Swish! Hiss! With only a single point, he's pierced through the throat of the bandit's first leader. Bang! Subsequently, a bloody hole appeared on the throat of the first leader, and his body crashed to the ground. You, he struggled to raise his head. Then he pointed at Duan Ling Tian, and his eyes were filled with despair and unwillingness. The first leader of the bandits struggled for a moment before his head fell down fiercely, and he was completely devoid of any signs of life. Dead. Duan Ling Tian had a calm expression as he looked at the scene before him, and he wasn't surprised. Big brother Ling Tian, I'm tired, I want to sleep. Right at this moment, the little gold mouse's exhausted voice transmission sounded out by Duan Ling Tian's ears. Okay, rest well. Duan Ling Tian replied as he strokes the little gold mouse on his shoulder. Only he knew that the reason he was able to kill the first leader of the bandits was all because of the little gold mouse's contribution. At the critical moment, the little gold mouse had executed her soul skill, Soul Shaker, in a timely manner, causing the first leader to instantly become dazed, and it gave Duan Ling Tian an opportunity to take advantage of. The instant the first leader was affected by the little gold mouse's Soul Shake soul skill, it was equivalent to losing all guard and to become a sheep waiting to be slaughtered, a piece of fish of the chopping block. Duan Ling Tian had killed him with just a finger. This, Qi Ming's eyes sprang wide open like saucers. Although his heart contained a trace of imagination, and he felt that perhaps Duan Ling Tian would be able to bring him a pleasant surprise, but he never imagined that this pleasant surprise would be so shocking. A fifth-level void prying stage martial artist. Duan Ling Tian didn't even use a spirit sword or force, and he'd only used a pure origin energy point force that killed the martial artist. He saw it clearly. The strength of that finger force of Duan Ling Tian's was only comparable to the strength of 2,000 ancient mammoths, and Duan Ling Tian had relied on this strength to kill a fifth-level void-prying stage martial artist that had comprehended half-step earth force. If he didn't see it with his own two eyes, he wouldn't believe it was real even if someone bashed him to death. As for the crazy young master, sword young master, and flame young master, they were completely dumbstruck. At the first possible moment, the same though arose in their hearts. Motherf **** cur. Were they putting on a play? Otherwise, why did the bandit first leader suddenly stop and disperse his origin energy? The scene from before caused them to feel disbelief. After a short moment, Crazy Young Master was the first to recover from his shock, and he pounced towards the remaining bandits. There were still many bandits remaining as Duan Ling Tian had only killed less than half earlier. After Crazy Young Master made a move, Sword Young Master and Flame Young Master recovered from their shock as well, and they both pounced onto the remaining bandits. For a time, the shrill cries of the bandits sounded out without end, and it rose and fell continuously. Only Duan Ling Tian turned around and walked out without the slightest interest. He left Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master to launch a one-sided slaughter on the group of bandits. Duan Ling Tian, aren't you afraid they'll surpass you? Qi Ming couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Duan Ling Tian's actions. After all, although all of these were only ordinary bandits, they were superior because of their great number. Tell me that when they surpass me. Duan Ling Tian shrugged and had an indifferent expression. At the beginning, Qi Ming didn't understand the meaning within Duan Ling Tian's words. But in next to no time, he came to realize the truth. He noticed to his astonishment that amongst the group of bandits that Crazy Young Master, Sword Young Master, and Flame Young Master were killing, the bandit with the strongest strength was only at the 7th level of the nascent soul stage. When all of the bandits had died at the hands of Crazy Young Master's group of 3, Qi Ming's heart shook. Could it be that Duan Ling Tian killed all of the bandits with a cultivation at the 8th level of the nascent soul stage and above earlier? An absurd thought suddenly emerged within his heart. During the chaotic battle earlier, many bandits hadn't even had the time to attack. It was difficult for him to imagine that under such circumstances, Duan Ling Tian was still able to kill all the bandits at the 8th level of the nascent soul stage and above. At this moment, he knew that Duan Ling Tian was the worthy number 1 in the mission this time. They're actually all at the 7th level of the nascent soul stage or below. Flame Young Master had an unsightly expression as he glanced fiercely at the distant Duan Ling Tian. This Duan Ling Tian's luck is really good. All the bandits with a high cultivation have actually been killed by him. During the experience mission this time, the lower the cultivation of the bandit killed, the lower the points obtained. Especially bandits that haven't even stepped into the 8th level of the nascent soul stage. They were even lower in points. Luck? When they heard Zhang Yan, both Crazy Young Master and Sword Young Master disapproved. They didn't think that this was Duan Ling Tian's luck. At this moment, The gazes they looked at Duan Ling Tian with were filled with terror. They knew that Duan Ling Tian was far more terrifying than they'd imagined. So long as they recalled the scene from before, they couldn't help but shiver. The first leader of the bandits, a fifth-level void-prying stage martial artist that had even comprehended half-step advanced earth force, actually didn't have the chance to attack before Duan Ling Tian. At that instant, the first leader of the bandits seemed as if he'd suddenly lost his soul and was at Duan Ling Tian's mercy. In next to no time, the two of them seemed to have thought of something at the same time, and they looked at each other. Could it be Duan Ling Tian's demonic technique? Looks like Flute Fairy wasn't putting on a show with Duan Ling Tian that day. Perhaps Duan Ling Tian really does no demonic techniques. Sword Young Master and Crazy Young Master communicated via voice transmission, and they quickly confirmed this fact. After all, the scene from before was truly too unbelievable. If they were to look at it according to conventional logic, it was practically impossible for the same to occur. So they could only determine that it was Duan Ling Tian executing his demonic technique. Moreover, it wasn't the first time that Duan Ling Tian had executed his demonic technique. But they just didn't believe it the other time. This time, they had no choice but to believe it. At the instant that first leader of the bandits was driven to distraction, there was no fluctuation of inscriptions. In other words, Duan Ling Tian didn't utilize an inscription. Qi Ming's heart shook. Could it be that he really knows demonic techniques? That day, he'd noticed the scene of Flute Fairy, Ziyin, losing her composure in the inner hall. At that time, he didn't believe Duan Ling Tian knew demonic techniques just like everyone else. But now, he had no choice but to have doubts.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.